Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome back to part 2 of a beginner's guide to cruising. And today, we're going to be starting the booking process. Now, if you saw part 1, part 1 was all about doing your research. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll go ahead and link it here at the top. Definitely recommend starting there because it does quickly talk about how to get to the part where you're ready to start booking. Now, here in part 2, we're going to assume you've done all the research. You selected the cruise you want to go on. You're ready to go. You're ready to start the booking process. And we're not going to go through each and every step of the booking process because some of it's fairly common sense, but I do want to highlight some important information you will need to know if you're a first-time cruiser booking your first cruise. And this doesn't matter whether you're booking it yourself or you're booking it, say, through a travel agent or directly through the cruise line, because these are still going to be questions you're going to want to ask and know the answers to. Now, we're going to hop over here to the computer and I'm going to show you guys some of the information you're going to see, some of the information you're going to be looking for. I selected Royal Caribbean as the example we're going to use, so I'm going to be on Royal Caribbean's website, but all of the cruise lines look basically the same. They basically go through the same steps, but the questions you're looking for, the answers you're looking for in a booking, they're going to be the same. So once you've selected your cruise, you selected the number of people that are going to be in your cabin, number of adults, number of children. It's then going to ask you, what type of cabin do you want? Now, the type of cabin you pick, of course, is going to affect the price. And while there are a multitude of sub-cabin categories, essentially you're going to have your main cabin categories, which is going to be interior, ocean view, balcony, and suites. And you'll be able to see those right across the top. We're going to go ahead and we're going to select balcony. That is one of the more popular cabin types out there. Now, just a quick reference to what each type is if you're not familiar. So an interior cabin, of course, is inside the ship. It has no windows. It's basically just 4 walls, versus an ocean view cabin, which has a window, a balcony cabin that has a balcony, and then you're going to have your suite category, which are, of course, larger, more spacious type of rooms on board the ship. Now, one tip for new cruisers, people that have never been on a cruise ship before: cruise cabins are smaller than you expect them to be. They're definitely smaller than any hotel room that you've ever stayed in before. So the very first time you walk into a cruise cabin, you may be a little shocked and surprised that it's not as big as it sometimes looks in the pictures. They are relatively small. Space is limited. Now, no matter what category you pick, they're all going to have the same basic amenities in it. Each cabin will have its own private bathroom. You'll have your own bed. There'll be a TV on the wall. They have a hair dryer for the ladies like to blow dry their hair. They'll have storage space, wardrooms, some type of place to sit. Some will have a simple chair and a desk. Some will have a couch, and that'll vary a little bit from room to room, but they all have the basic same amenities in them. They'll have a small refrigerator slash cooler. Not really a refrigerator. Will keep your drinks cool, but it not necessarily as cold as your refrigerator at home. Interior cabins are usually the least expensive cabin, and then they go up in price from interior to ocean view to balcony to suites being some of the highest priced cabins on board. So it's really a preference to how you want to cruise. If you just plan to use your room for sleeping, nothing else, don't plan to hang out in there very much, maybe an interior cabin would work best, save you money. You could spend that money somewhere else. But at the same time, if you're claustrophobic and would feel closed in a room without windows, without a view, an interior definitely might not be for you. Now, we're going to continue with our mock booking here on Icon of the Seas, sailing from Galveston. We're going to select a balcony, and this information will vary from ship to ship depending on what they have available. But as you can see here on Icon, you have the first 2 options are: we choose your neighborhood view balcony. That means it is a balcony but faces towards the interior of the ship. Or we choose your ocean view balcony, which means it faces, of course, the ocean. They have different types of balconies on this type of ship. Then you have the option for Central Park View Balcony, Spacious Infinite Central Park View Balcony, Ocean View Balcony, Spacious Infinite Ocean View. It goes on, and these are all of the subcategories that you can get below it. Now, if you go to simply to a Ocean View Balcony here, you can select more details and it will pull up information on the room, gives you a little picture. You can go through the pictures and see. It will let you know the occupancy level, so up to 4 guests can stay in there. It does have an ocean view. We'll list your room amenities. Here's an example. This stateroom is only 204 square feet. Relatively small if you compare it to a hotel room. Has a 50 square foot balcony. Talks about the beds and everything that is included into the room. Now, for the purpose of our booking, we're going to go ahead and select Ocean View Balcony. Now, at this particular point, you could select any category. It's going to go to the same screen unless you pick a guaranteed balcony. So the difference between a guaranteed balcony versus an ocean view balcony in this case is in a guaranteed room, the cruise line will pick the cabin's location for you. It is usually less expensive to let the cruise line pick it for you. That means they basically say, okay, this is the balconies we have left over. You're going to get one of these balconies versus you being able to pick the exact location of your room. So now it's going to come down, give us the option to where we want to select our room so we can select it. And you can see right here, this is the one that they recommend. And in this particular case, that's because that is currently the only room left available on that deck. And you can see it also says it right up here, deck 7, only one room is left. It shows you deck 8, one is left. You have rooms on deck 12 and up to deck number 14 available for this particular category. So we will hop up to deck 12 just to get a few extra examples. And you can see all of the rooms that are available. And we will simply select a room just to select it. We're going to pick midship-ish. This is going to be, we'll pick midship, deck number 12 as our room. And then we can continue to preferences. Next, it's going to want to talk about selecting your dining preferences. And this is for the main dining room. This is included in your cruise fare. So you don't pay anything extra for this. And this does vary a little bit depending on the cruise line you're on. Now here on Royal Caribbean, you can pick early dining, which is here at 5 o'clock. You can pick late dining here at 7:30. They have another late dining here at 8:30, but that is unavailable. And then they also have anytime dining from 6 p.m. all the way up till 9 p.m. For first-time cruisers, set time dining. So if you pick 5 p.m. dinner time, that is the time you're going to go to dinner each and every night. Now, whether you select early or late, you will have the same table every night, the same wait staff every single night of your cruise. You don't have to go every single night, but that's what you'll have if you do. If you select anytime dining, you go anytime between those hours. You'll get any table that is available, any wait staff that is available. So you won't necessarily have any type of consistency, but you will have more flexibility when you want to go eat. Now, there are cruise lines out there that don't have set dining times. Norwegian Cruise Line, for example, uses freestyle dining, which is pretty much anytime dining for everybody. And this is again why research is important, because if you're booking a specific cruise line, you want to make sure you know the specific details for them. Now, the next thing it's going to want to know about is pay gratuities before your cruise. You can prepay gratuities now to show your appreciation for 24-hour service from your room attendants, culinary, and service staff, or assign gratuities once on board through your Sea Pass account. And for this particular cruise, it lets you know how much it is. Now, here's the breakdown for gratuities. So you can, like it says, prepay your gratuities before you ever get on the ship. You don't have to worry about them. They're prepaid. If you don't prepay your gratuities, they are going to charge you a daily rate per person once you are on board the ship, and they're going to add it to your onboard account, which you pay at the end of your cruise. Now, for this particular booking, it lets you know it is $222. Pretty average across the cruise lines. They generally range anywhere from $16, $17 per person per day, all the way up to $22 per person per day, say on Margaritaville at sea. And of course, if you're staying in a suite versus an interior cabin, you can see a difference there as well. Suites usually have a higher gratuity rate. Now, you always have the option, if you want to take advantage of it, you can go to guest services while on board the cruise and have them remove the gratuities altogether. That is an option for people that would prefer to tip out in cash instead of have it taken out and distributed by the cruise line. You can do that as an option. But the only way to do that, the only way to avoid not paying the gratuities while on board the ship, is to go down to guest services and have them remove that. Okay? You cannot opt out early. You cannot call. You cannot ask for a refund after the cruise is over, saying you didn't know. I've seen many comments from first-time cruisers where they said, "Where did this service charge, this gratuity rate come from?" This is where it comes from. Now, for Royal Caribbean, they are going to give you the option that you see here, that you would rather pay more for a refundable deposit. Okay? They are letting you know you are booking with our best rate available. Select the below to forfeit the lowest rate and pay more for a refundable deposit. If you cancel prior to May 18th of 2027, your deposit will be fully refunded. But of course, they want you to pay an additional $739 in order to add a refundable deposit. This is very, very important information that a lot of new cruisers miss. A lot of cruise fares are non-refundable cruise fares, meaning if you cancel on a non-refunded cruise fare, you will not get the deposit back. The cruise line will not show you sympathy. You cannot call them and tell them, but we didn't mean for this to happen. Please, take our circumstances into account. Generally, they're never going to do that. You book non-refundable, you cancel, it is non-refundable. But in this case, if you want to make it refundable, if you want to eliminate the possibility of them keeping your deposit, this is the box you check, and it does cost you more in order to get to that non-refundable status. But yes, you've got to know what type of cruise fare you booked. Refundable versus non-refundable. Next, in a very, very important option is travel insurance. Should you get travel insurance for your cruise? The thing about travel insurance is you will never ever need it until you do. And you do have more than one option for travel insurance. Royal Caribbean, all of the cruise lines actually will offer you travel insurance through them. It is still through a third party, but you can purchase it through the cruise lines, or you can purchase an independent third party travel insurance. No matter which one you pick, make sure you read the terms, the conditions, and understand what it covers. For any travel insurance, know what it covers, know what it's going to protect you against. So for Royal Caribbean, they talk about you have cancel for any reason, where you can get up to 100% of your uninsured prepaid trip costs. You can get travel delay coverage, unexpected medical expenses, luggage loss, and 24/7 support. And it will break it down and let you know up to $1,500 coverage for lost, stolen, or damaged luggage, and up to $500 for replacement items when luggage is delayed. And they do give the option to review the terms and conditions and plan sponsors. And a thing to remember is not all cruise travel insurance through the cruise line is available in every place or is the same price in every place. Some states have different rules. Some countries have different rules as to the type of coverage you can have. So in this particular case, do we reside in New York or Hawaii? We're going to say no, where we can add it. Had we said yes, it would let you know that New York and Hawaii residents who are interested in travel protection should contact Aon Affinity directly after booking the cruise. So we're going to say no. We're going to add our travel protection because I highly, highly recommend you have it because, again, you'll never need it until you do. And it lets you know that it adds an additional $348 to insure your trip. All right, then it's going to give you a review. Of course, it's going to have the cost of your cruise, port fees and taxes, your guest. In this case, it is giving us 60% off of the second guest. And cruise lines will have different sales, specials, promotions, and things going on all throughout the year. So if you see one that looks good, you get an email about one that looks good, you want to take advantage of it, do it while you can. They don't last, but they do generally come back here and there. All right, and once again, we'll ask you about your preferences. Do you want to prepay the cruise gratuities? Do you want a non-refundable deposit? You can select all those or unselect all those again if you have changed your mind. Then it will come down and give you your trip total, your due today, and you can see here because we selected refundable deposit, it says refundable deposit. If we unselect that, it just lets you know due today of $500, which is your deposit. And then right below that, if you click that tab, it gives you the cancellation policy for your cruise. Reading the cancellation policy is another super important tip. So you know if you think you might have to cancel, what are the dates you have to do this by? How much are you going to get back depending on when you cancel? The closer you get to the cruise, the less you're going to get back if you cancel. And again, this is where travel insurance steps in, where you can file a claim to recoup even more money. But if you don't select travel insurance and you cancel, let's say you cancel July the 17th, a month before your cruise, it tells you no refund except port fees and taxes. And that's if you don't have any type of insurance. And after that, it's going to go over and have you start entering into guest information. And of course, we are not going to enter it. We are not going to enter any of that in here. So just a quick recap of the important things you are looking for in a cruise booking. Whether you're booking yourself or even with a travel agent, you want to know, do I have a refundable or a non-refundable deposit? You want to know the cancellation policy of your booking. Make sure you know the gratuity amounts and process of the cruise line you go on. Are you going to prepay? Are you going to pay once you're on board the ship? Did you purchase the travel insurance? What does the travel insurance cover? Super important that you know that information. And honestly, my opinion, it's really important that you have it because, again, it's one of those things you will never need it until you do. And I can't say that enough because it happens. I, again, have seen a lot of comments of people say, this event happened last minute, a week before I was supposed to get on my cruise. Now I can't go, and the cruise line will not refund me the price of my cruise. They will not give me future cruise credit. And the first thing the cruise line is going to say every time is, you opted not to purchase any type of travel insurance. That's on you. And the last and final thing you need to know, absolutely need to know when you are making your booking, is when is your final payment due date. And your final payment due date is usually anywhere between 60 to 90 to 120 days. Again, varies between cruise lines. You will see it there. Once you make your deposit, it will tell you your final due date for your when everything has to be paid. If you miss that date and you don't make final payment on or prior to that, the cruise line will simply cancel your cruise and keep your money. So don't miss final payment due date, the last thing you know in your booking process. But if you go through all of that, you hit complete, you make your deposit, you have now booked your very first cruise, and you are ready to begin your cruise countdown. How many days is it till you finally get to board that ship? Now, in our next video, we're going to talk about pre-cruise purchases, some items you can buy before you get on the cruise ship, help save you some money depending on whether you need them or don't. Examples, drink packages, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, but we're going to cover those and how they work in our next video. Now, if you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.